I don't think I've ever told this story, but my friend was videotaping, and I started talking to him about her. And then I was done.
Whenever Kevin Costner graced a movie set, his presence was undeniable. With his calm demeanor, powerful presence, and understated charm, he ascended to become one of Hollywood's most prominent figures. Yet beneath the accolades, the awards, and the grand estates, a profound sorrow lay hidden. Now, at 68 and freshly divorced, Kevin is finally speaking out. And his revelations have astonished fans and even shocked those within Hollywood circles. He's discussing the one woman he never ceased to cherish. It's not the person most anticipated, and this transcends a mere love story. It's an account of regret, timing, and what might have been. So, who was she, and why is Kevin speaking now? Stay with us, as his confession promises to leave you speechless. Kevin Costner's ascent to stardom from his earliest days. Kevin Costner's life diverged from the realm of cinema and celebrity. He wasn't born into wealth or Hollywood lineage. Born on January 18, 1955, in Linwood, California, he was the youngest of 3 sons. His father, William Costner, pursued acting, while his mother, Sharon, dedicated herself to raising their children. Though they possessed little materially, their home was rich with love. As a child, Kevin experienced frequent relocation. His family rarely settled in one place for long. He resided in modest towns such as Compton and Ventura. It wasn't an easy existence. He wasn't the tallest or the swiftest, nor was he an academic prodigy or a sports sensation. However, he harbored an inner qualia, quiet strength. He enjoyed solitude, writing, and contemplation. Sometimes he composed poetry. At other times, he simply dreamed. And those quiet aspirations, they were only just beginning. Remain with us, for what transpired next will astound you. Kevin Costner attended California State University in Fullerton, where he pursued a business degree. It was a pragmatic decision, yet not one his heart truly desired. He understood his aversion to numbers. What he genuinely yearned for was to narrate stories. He didn't articulate it aloud, but he longed to act. He wished to experience something genuine, to reveal something authentic to people. Actor college. A brief plane journey altered his trajectory. Seated beside him was a man involved in the film industry. Kevin confided his acting aspirations, and the man offered a simple piece of advice: he should venture into acting. But obstacles loomed for Kevin. No financial resources, no influential acquaintances, no one to assist him. He undertook numerous jobs on fishing vessels, driving trucks, conducting tours at movie studios. At night, he attended acting classes. He was far from famous, barely recognized. Occasionally, he played minor roles that never made it to the screen. People didn't know his name. Still, he persevered. An inner drive propelled him forward. Then came a small part in a film titled The Big Chill. Kevin portrayed a deceased friend. His face wasn't even visible in the final cut, but something positive emerged. The director remembered him and subsequently invited Kevin back for a more substantial role. In 1985, Kevin received a genuine opportunity. The movie Silverado. He embodied a spirited cowboy brimming with charisma and intensity. People took notice. He was captivating to watch. That's when Hollywood began to take an interest. But it didn't conclude there. In 1987, The Untouchables was released, and Kevin portrayed Elliot Ness, a resolute, honorable man who combated crime. He acted alongside luminaries like Sean Connery and Robert De Niro, but Kevin held his own. Many admired him for his calm, steadfast, and authentic portrayal. Next came Bull Durham in 1988 and Field of Dreams in 1989. Both were resounding successes. More significantly, they revealed Kevin's true essence. In Field of Dreams, he played a man who heard a voice in his cornfield. If you build it, he will come. It sounded improbable, yet it resonated with hope. Audiences adored it. They perceived something honest within him, something strong and compassionate. And then, in 1990, came his greatest gamble, Dances with Wolves. Kevin not only starred in it, but also directed it. Many predicted its failure. It was lengthy, quiet, and depicted Native Americans with sensitivity and respect. But Kevin believed in it, invested his entire being. The film achieved monumental success, garnering 7 Oscars, including Best Director and Best Picture. Kevin had triumphed. He was now one of Hollywood's most celebrated names. Yet, more paramount than the awards was the sentiment underpinning it all. Kevin had followed his heart. It trusted the quiet inner voice. He wasn't merely a movie star. He remained the same boy from small towns, the boy who cherished stories, the boy who sat by the water and dreamed. And that boy had come full circle. But when it came to his romantic life, it was an entirely different narrative. Kevin Costner, the man behind the legend. As we previously mentioned on screen, Kevin Costner has embodied diverse roles, from a cowboy and a bodyguard to a baseball visionary. For nearly 4 decades, Kevin Costner has portrayed the archetype of a man people admire, tough, noble, quietly heroic, but that's the version we witness in films. The true story is more intricate, for behind the fame, behind the stoic characters and the golden statuettes, lies a man who spent decades endeavoring to comprehend love, loss, and the true meaning of being present for someone. To grasp that story, we must return not to Hollywood, but to a college campus in California. That's where it all began, with a young woman named Cindy Silva. So, remain engaged until the video's conclusion to grasp the complete essence. It all commenced in 1975. Costner wasn't famous yet, nor was he wealthy. Was simply a young man with a dream and an infatuation. Cindy was intelligent, kind, and beautiful, the kind of woman who inspired Kevin to be a better person. Kevin's affection for Cindy was so profound that he once declared she embodied everything he admired in women, and he felt immense pride when she agreed to date him. They married in 1978. It wasn't effortless. While Kevin Costner pursued acting opportunities, Cindy worked to sustain them financially. She believed in him even when Hollywood didn't. For years, it was just the two of them against the world. And then, the world began to take notice. With triumphs like The Untouchables, Bull Durham, and Field of Dreams. One success after another, Kevin Costner became a household name. And with that fame came temptation. The pressures of celebrity didn't merely transform his life, they tested his marriage. Rumors began to circulate widely that the man who once held Cindy close now found himself drifting away. Thus, in 1994, after 16 years and 3 children, their marriage concluded. For the settlement Cindy received amounted to $80 million, but the emotional toll was far more difficult to quantify. Costner later confessed that his faith had been shaken. He wasn't solely referring to marriage. He was speaking about himself. He had constructed this image of the American hero only to witness his personal life unravel. Behind the scenes, his children Annie, Lily, and Joe were caught in the middle. To him, that constituted an immense loss. After Kevin Costner and his first wife, Cindy Silva, divorced, his life began to fragment. He wasn't merely heartbroken, he was adrift. His career was faltering, and his personal life was in disarray. In the mid-90s, Kevin dated a few women, but none of the relationships endured. It seemed as though he was unwilling to open his heart again, not after his experience with Cindy. Then came Bridget Rooney. Their relationship was brief, but resulted in the birth of his son, Liam, in 1996. Now one might assume having another child would help Kevin settle down, but it didn't. Those close to him observed that Kevin Costner appeared uncertain of his own identity. On screen, he portrayed strong, romantic heroes, but off-screen, he was a man striving to understand himself. Even his colleague, Ben Affleck, once remarked that he and Matt Damon were unsure if Kevin recalled working with them on Field of Dreams. A minor comment, yet one that subtly raised concern. And then, unexpectedly, came Elle Macpherson, a world-renowned supermodel. They began dating in 1996, and their relationship progressed rapidly. Within months, they were cohabiting. Kevin even described her as equally beautiful, intelligent, and kind. But by the end of the year, it was over, just like that. friends, indicated he never stopped thinking about Cindy, even though their marriage ended poorly. He still yearned for the simple, honest love they shared when they were young and struggling together. He seemed unable to recapture that feeling. Simultaneously, his films were underperforming. Waterworld was a colossal failure. The Postman fared even worse. Kevin Costner, once Hollywood's reigning figure, was now faltering. And with no stable home life to rely on, it became evident. His world, both personal and professional, was crumbling. But then something surprising occurred. In 1998, Kevin met Christine Baumgartner. She was a model and a handbag designer, 20 years his junior. And this time, it felt different. Kevin appeared happy again, as if he might finally envision a future with someone. Still, things weren't perfect. They dated for 4 years, but in 2002, they broke up. Why? In 2004, they married at Kevin's sprawling ranch in Aspen, Colorado. They had 3 children together, Caden, Hayes, and Grace, for nearly 20 years. It seemed Kevin had finally found peace. He frequently lauded Christine in interviews, referring to her as his true partner. But even with all that love at home, trouble persisted. Kevin's acting career had experienced a resurgence with Yellowstone, and he was engrossed in his dream movie project, Horizon. Suddenly, he was being pulled in 2 directions again: work and family. The same issue that ended his first marriage was beginning to resurface because for Kevin, love and success were always intertwined. When one began to unravel, the other typically followed. So, in May 2023, fans were stunned when, after 18 years of marriage, Christine Baumgartner filed for divorce from Kevin Costner. The divorce quickly became acrimonious and highly public. They disputed over residences, finances, and child custody. It dominated the news, and many were shocked to witness one of Hollywood's most private couples endure such a painful ordeal. In the public eye, those close to them stated the primary issue was time. Costner had been working incessantly between his hit show Yellowstone and his ambitious movie project, Horizon. He was often away from home, and eventually that created too much distance between them. Costner did not desire the divorce. Those who knew him said he was heartbroken and would have done anything to make things work. When he finally addressed it, he said little, but it was clear that it pained him. Later that year, while promoting Horizon, people noticed he wasn't quite the same. He still smiled, still appeared calm, but there was a subtle difference. He seemed quieter, more contemplative. In interviews, he spoke more candidly than usual about the difficulty of pursuing one's dreams while still being the kind of parent and partner one aspires to be. He focused on his children, striving to remain strong for them. He stated he had no alternative. He simply had to persevere, continue showing up, and keep listening to them. But then came something entirely unforeseen. During this period, while still grappling with the breakup, Costner shared something unexpected about the depth of his heartbreak. It was subtle, quiet, but it altered perceptions of him. So, what did he say? Let's discover. A man attempting to heal after love was lost. When people learned that Kevin was heartbroken over a past relationship, questions began to arise. Who was he referring to? Some presumed it had to be Cindy, recalling the old adage, first love never dies. But in Kevin's case, it wasn't his first love. It was his marriage to Christine. You see, this marriage was different. For 20 years, Kevin was married to Christine Baumgartner. They built a quiet, stable life together, far from the clamor of Hollywood. They raised children, created memories, and established a home filled with laughter and routine. Kevin often asserted that being a family man meant more to him than fame ever could. So, this was a relationship he never wished to lose. Therefore, when Christine requested a divorce from Kevin Costner in 2023, it was as if Kevin's world abruptly ceased. Everything he had painstakingly built seemed to be slipping away. The shocking aspect was the absence of public disputes, no clear indications of brewing trouble. To many, it appeared out of nowhere. Kevin was left shocked, hurt, and bewildered. One moment he had a partner. The next, he faced life alone. So, as I mentioned earlier, the divorce wasn't messy because Kevin desired money or cars. It was messy because he didn't want to relinquish the life they had constructed together, the years of love and memories, the family they had created. Letting go of all that felt impossible to him. He had no words to articulate the profundity of his pain. Only the weight of reality settling in. But here comes the twist. Just a few months after the papers were signed, Christine was seen with someone new, Josh Connor. He wasn't just any man. He was a longtime friend of Kevin's, a neighbor, someone who had been close to both of them. That intensified the heartbreak. An insider close to Kevin explained his feelings. He felt as though he had been stabbed in the back. And to the outside world, that's precisely how it appeared. Not only had he lost his wife, but he had also lost her to someone he had once trusted. Now, in an attempt to articulate his pain, Kevin, who has always been a private individual and doesn't seek attention, even though it often finds him, opened up during an interview on CBS. He spoke about the profound pain he was experiencing, acknowledging its difficulty but also demonstrating his resolve to move forward. Still, moving on isn't easy, especially when one's heart remains ensnared in the past. Behind the scenes, Kevin immersed himself in his work. He had commenced filming Horizon, an American saga, a Western film he had envisioned for years. It was a massive, expensive project that was deeply personal to him. It was about legacy, history, and the American spirit. Yet, even as the cameras rolled, Kevin's mind continued to grapple with his heartbreak. He was directing a film about courage while quietly struggling to find the strength to rebuild his own life. However, as time progressed, the public began to wonder if Kevin was dating again or moving on. Rumors started to circulate about him and singer Jewel. They had been seen together a few times, smiling and laughing, leading people to believe that perhaps Kevin had found someone new. But Kevin quickly addressed these rumors, clarifying that they were merely friends. They had never been romantically involved, but it didn't end there. Overcoming heartbreak after the heartbreak stemming from his divorce from Christine Baumgartner, Kevin Costner found himself in an unexpected place. It wasn't the kind of pain that could be resolved with a quick fix or by burying himself in work. It was deeper, the kind of pain that lingers and compels one to question everything believed about love and life. In the silence of it all, Kevin turned to the one person who knew him better than anyone, Cindy Silva, his first wife, dreams of family, and the kind of love that felt destined to last forever. But that had been many years ago. They had both gone their separate ways, living different lives. Still, some connections don't fade. Some hearts never forget the past, even when time and distance attempt to pull them apart. As Kevin confronted the aftermath of his second divorce, it was Cindy who quietly re-entered his life. They began conversing. Again, slowly at first, and then more frequently. It wasn't about rekindling the old flame or pretending nothing had changed. It was about finding solace in the familiar. Cindy was there to listen, to offer advice, to simply be present. And for Kevin, that was sufficient. Sometimes you don't need someone to mend everything. You just need someone to understand. But as Kevin leaned on Cindy for support, he found himself contemplating whether there was an opportunity to reconstruct what they once shared. Could they find their way back to each other? If he wanted to believe, it was possible, even if only for a moment. But Cindy had already moved on. She had remarried, and though Kevin tried to reach out, the reality was clear. She had a new life, a new family, and no longer looked back at the past as he did. Still, Kevin couldn't shake the feelings. The connection they had once shared was strong, and there were moments when he wished he could reverse time. But sometimes time doesn't allow backward movement. It propels you forward, whether you're prepared or not. Cindy had her own life now, and Kevin had to learn to accept that. Their friendship endured, though they remained close, and Cindy continued to offer her support. They discussed their children, life, and occasionally the cherished memories they shared. Kevin appreciated those moments more than he could express. It wasn't about reliving the past, but about finding peace in the present. In the quiet moments when they shared memories and laughter, Kevin found a sense of healing. Cindy didn't attempt to mend his heart. But her presence reminded him that not all love stories need to culminate in a perfect conclusion. Sometimes, love simply transforms into something different to friendship, a bond that persists even after everything changes. Kevin found comfort in that. He began to feel a little lighter, not because he was completely healed, but because he had someone who understood him, who had once shared the same dreams and hopes. In those moments, Kevin realized that healing doesn't always come with grand gestures or dramatic transformations. Sometimes it comes from simply being with the people who truly matter. But as Kevin moved forward, reality set in. His past with Cindy was over. The second divorce was still raw, and there were wounds to heal. Cindy had her own life, and Kevin couldn't alter that. But the friendship they shared helped him discover a new sense of peace. And right now, Kevin is 68. He knows it's not a time to continue dating. It's a time to mend things, and that's what he did. Now that Kevin Costner is once again a single father, many ponder what the future holds for his romantic life. After enduring 2 painful divorces, especially the recent one with Christine Baumgartner, the heartbreak has left profound marks, the kind of pain that doesn't dissipate overnight. It lingers quietly, heavily, but Kevin appears to be handling it with a fresh perspective. Some believe his recent comments about Cindy Silva suggest he's still clinging to the past. But those closest to him perceive it differently. They believe Kevin isn't trapped in the past. Instead, he's acknowledging a significant chapter of his life while making peace with it. Even so, he hasn't abandoned hope for love. He remains open to the possibility of falling in love again, understanding that people are meant to share their lives with someone. His heart may still bear the scars, but it isn't closed off. Right now, his focus is on his children and his passion project, Horizon. But he's also allowing space for healing, hope, and perhaps the chance for love to re-enter his life once more. What are your thoughts on Kevin's romantic life? Do you believe he made the right decision in divorcing Cindy? And how well do you think he's managed the heartbreak? Share your opinions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more.